everyone, welcome to Delectable Flavors, and today I'm going to share a recipe which is called Hakka Chinese noodles. So let's have a look at the ingredients first. I took spaghetti noodles and they are 450 grams here. I'm using 2 cups of red cabbage, 2 cups of green cabbage. It needs to be finely chopped into thin strips. So the more thin vegetables you will cut, that's the key to success for this recipe. So try to chop them into thin strips as thin as possible. I'm taking red bell peppers, a couple of orange peppers, and a green capsicum peppers. You need oil. You can use any kind of oil that works for you. I'm going to use vegetable oil, and I'm going to use about 4 teaspoons of oil for this. I'm using garlic paste. Again, it's based on a taste. If you don't like a taste of garlic, please totally avoid it. Otherwise, I'm using 1/4 teaspoon of garlic. I'm using 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. I'm using salt, I would say based on your taste, because it all depends. Some people, they like the higher amount of salt or sodium, or some people like less. But I'm taking it 1 teaspoon of salt. I have 1/4 red pepper as a chili powder, and I'm taking 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. So I already have a water boiling, so you can just put your spaghetti noodles in the water. And we are going to stir it time to time until they are soft. And I'm going to leave them on the heat, and I'm going to leave it on the medium heat, and if you think it's too much, you can put it down and make sure you stir it in between. If you want, you can add a little bit of salt in the boiling noodles. I don't prefer to. People do add oil as well, so they're not going to stick to each other. But what I do is, once it's done, I'm going to put them in a cold water or rinse it with a cold water, so they're not going to stick to each other. So again, it's an optional if you want to put oil in there or you want to put salt in there. So we're going to leave it for about, I would say, 9 to 10 minutes, and by the time they're going to be ready. Now our noodles are ready. You can see there is a change in color. They got a little lighter than before. And you can try to hold one and try to break into 2 pieces and see if it works. Yeah, so it's fine. So I turned off the stove now, and I'm going to strain the water out. Just strained my noodles, and I'm going to wash it with the cold water. And once they're done, I'm just going to drain the excess water out. Now what I'm going to do is, I have a cold water in my bowl here, and I'm going to transfer the noodles into the cold water so they're not going to stick to each other. So if you're not making it right away after boiling it, so this is the best way. Okay, so now our noodles are ready. So I'm going to make it in a non-stick pan, and I do have the 4 teaspoons of oil in this. So I'm gonna just let the oil heat up. So the one key factor is to get the Hakka Chinese noodle like store-made noodles, that all the vegetables needs to be cut into thin strips, and the second is it needs to be done on the high flame. So we need to be very proactive when we are doing this, because it might lead to burn the vegetables. So we need to stir it frequently, and we need to do it on high flame. So I'm just waiting for the oil to be heated, and then we'll start. And another thing is, I would say take 2 spatulas, because we need to stir it at the end, because it's going to be on high flame, so it's going to be vegetables and noodles going to be mixed together evenly, so we might need 2 spatulas. So first I'm going to start with the garlic paste. And now I'm going to add my red and green cabbage. I can see there's a 1 big piece. I'm just going to slice them into the small pieces as well. And all kind of peppers we're going to add at the like once it's half done, the cabbage thing. So I have a high flame, and we need to stir frequently so it's not going to stick to the bottom. You can toss it if you want, but it all depends how comfortable you are. This is what the store people do, restaurant people. This is how they cook. They try to toss rather than stirring it. In the store, they have the high BTU burners, so they really cook fast. We'll try to do on a maximum heat we can. If you want, you can add carrots also, but it's really hard to find, chop them. But if you can add those. Our cabbage is almost ready. So now, in meanwhile, I'm going to drain the water out of my noodles. You can see how they are all separate from each other. They're not sticking to one another. So they're all good. So let me drain the water out. So now our cabbage is all good. Now I'm going to add noodles. You can see how nicely they're separated from each other. Stir. And now I'm going to add a soya sauce, black pepper, chili powder, and salt to taste. I'm taking 1 teaspoon. I'm going to put a feed a little bit on medium, and I'm going to use my both spatulas so I can mix them fast. If you think soy sauce is you want a little bit dark, you can add more soy sauce in order to do it more brownish, to give it a more brownish tinge. So they're not sticking. So this is the beauty of the non-stick pan, because even with a less oil, the food doesn't stick to the bottom. And now we are going to move the flame back on high. And I'm going to add my peppers. Now I'm going to stir them back. Again, make sure it's on high heat. So now they're not sticking to the bottom, so I can go with one. And I think my silicone spatula is not that strong enough, so I'm going to get a wooden stick. So you can see how they are separated from each other. And they're not sticking to each other, they're not sticking to the bottom. And they pretty much look like, almost like a store Hakka Chinese noodle. Scrape the sides off if you think it's sticking, but mine is not at all. So you can see how in a less oil, our Hakka Chinese noodles are ready like the store noodles. So now our noodles are ready. I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to serve it. So now I'm going to serve it. It doesn't take long. It's just a matter of half an hour or less, in 20 minutes. But if you have the noodles boiled, if guests come, you can do it within 10 minutes. So our Hakka Chinese noodles are ready. And I really want you to try this recipe. And it's a good and it's a healthy at the same time as well. I hope you enjoyed our recipe today. Make sure you try this and like our recipe and subscribe to our channel for new recipes on every Thursday. So till then, bye bye.